Hey Alice. Lately I've been reflecting on how important self-confidence and self-esteem are for living a happy, fulfilling life. I think a lot of people struggle with these, but they're essential for feeling good about yourself and achieving your goals.
Definitely, John. Self-esteem is like the foundation of how you perceive yourself, and self-confidence is how you express that perception to the world. When you believe in your abilities, you become more comfortable sharing your thoughts, defending your opinions, and even taking risks. But yeah, sometimes circumstances can really impact both of those, and it can feel like an uphill battle to build them back up.
Exactly. It's crazy how easily they can be shaken. A bad day, someone's comment, or even failing at something can make you question everything. But I guess that's why it's so important to protect and nurture both.
You're right. One of the first things I've learned about improving self-esteem is how we talk to ourselves. If you constantly criticize yourself for every little mistake, it's hard to feel good about who you are. We've got to learn to be our own best friend, to speak kindly to ourselves. That means focusing more on our strengths rather than just our weaknesses.
Yeah, I think we're all guilty of that. We focus too much on what we can't do instead of what we're good at. It's almost like we're trained to think negatively.
It's true. We're so quick to compare ourselves to others and see what we lack, but we forget that everyone has unique talents. We need to embrace that uniqueness and use it to our advantage. A good exercise is to regularly reflect on what you've achieved. Sometimes, looking back at your past successes can remind you of your capabilities.
That's a great idea. But I guess it's also important to recognize where we're falling short, like facing your insecurities, right? It can be tough, but I think a lot of our struggles come from ignoring the things that scare us.
Absolutely. It's like trying to push away a problem doesn't make it disappear. Once you identify those fears or insecurities, you can start working through them. I mean, it's not easy, but acknowledging them is the first step toward building a more confident self.
So, once you recognize those fears, how do you actually work on them?
Well, the next step is to gradually face them. It's about taking small, manageable steps. For example, if you're afraid of speaking up in meetings, start by sharing one idea, even if it's just a short comment. Over time, those small victories will build your confidence. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Growth doesn't happen overnight.
That makes sense. I guess it's easy to want quick results, but you're right, building self-confidence takes time. It reminds me of how setting realistic goals can help too. Sometimes we set the bar too high and then feel like failures when we don't reach it.
Exactly. We often put too much pressure on ourselves. It's great to aim high, but if the goal is unrealistic, it just sets you up for disappointment. Instead, breaking larger goals into smaller, more achievable steps can really help. And we have to remember that making mistakes is part of the process. Every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow.
I agree. Mistakes are inevitable, but we tend to see them as proof of failure instead of as learning experiences. That's something I've been working on, being kinder to myself when things don't go as planned.
That's a great mindset to have. Another thing I've learned is the importance of setting boundaries and learning to say, no, this one can be hard, especially if you're someone who likes to please others or avoid conflict. But saying no when something doesn't align with your values or comfort is crucial for self-respect.
That's a tough one for me. I've always struggled with saying no because I don't want to let people down. But I'm starting to see how important it is for my mental well-being. If you say yes to everything, you end up overwhelmed and drained, which can really hurt your self-esteem in the long run.
Exactly. When you learn to say no, you're protecting your energy and self-worth. It's about setting clear limits and knowing that it's okay to prioritize your own needs. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you smart. Plus, when you set boundaries, people are more likely to respect you.
That's true. I never thought about it like that before, but it makes sense. I guess it's also important to spend time on things that make you feel good, whether it's hobbies, exercising, or just relaxing. Investing time in yourself seems like a key part of building self-esteem.
Absolutely. Doing things that you're passionate about or that bring you joy can really help boost your self-confidence. It reconnects you with your sense of purpose and reminds you of what you're capable of. Taking care of your mental and physical health is essential too. You can't feel good about yourself if you're neglecting your well-being.
That's so true. I always feel more confident and clear-headed after a good workout, or even just spending time doing something I enjoy, like reading or playing music. It's like a reset for your mind.
Exactly. It's all about creating a balance and making sure you prioritize yourself. When you make time for self-care, you're reinforcing the idea that you're worth it. And that's a huge boost for your self-esteem and confidence. The more you take care of yourself, the better equipped you are to handle challenges in life.
It's kind of funny how all these little things add up to something so important, isn't it? Like, just taking care of yourself and learning to set boundaries can really transform how you see yourself.
Yes, it's all interconnected. Self-esteem and confidence don't come from one big change. They're built through consistent habits and mindset shifts over time. The way you talk to yourself, the goals you set, the boundaries you enforce, and the time you invest in your own well-being all contribute to a stronger, healthier sense of self.
I've really been trying to shift my mindset lately, focusing more on positive self-talk and giving myself credit for the things I do well instead of beating myself up over mistakes. It's a process, but I feel like I'm slowly getting there.
That's amazing, John. It's a journey, and the fact that you're aware and making an effort is already a huge step forward. Just remember to be patient with yourself. Building self-confidence and self-esteem takes time, but the effort is so worth it.
Thanks, Alice. I appreciate that. I guess the bottom line is if we take care of ourselves and believe in our abilities, we're capable of so much more than we realize.
Exactly. And once you truly believe in yourself, it changes everything. Your relationships, your work, your happiness. It all starts from within.
It's inspiring to think about. I mean, if we all focused on building that internal strength, we'd probably be much happier overall. But like you said earlier, it's all about patience. I guess we need to be okay with the fact that it's a gradual process, right?
Exactly. We live in such a fast-paced world where we want immediate results, but personal growth, especially when it comes to self-esteem and confidence, takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. The important thing is to stay consistent and not give up on yourself when things get tough.
Yeah, I can see how sticking to these small changes like setting realistic goals, talking to yourself kindly, and establishing boundaries eventually leads to bigger transformations. I've noticed that when I focus on those things, I feel more in control of my life and more confident about what I can achieve.
That's the beauty of it. Once you start making those small changes, they snowball. Your confidence grows, and that motivates you to keep going. And remember, it's okay to ask for help along the way. Whether it's from friends, family, or even a therapist, having support can make a big difference.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Sometimes we think we have to figure it all out by ourselves, but getting guidance or support can make the journey easier. And it doesn't mean you're weak for needing help. It just shows you're committed to growing.
Exactly. None of us are meant to go through life alone. And the more you surround yourself with positive influences, the more you'll strengthen your confidence. The people you choose to have in your life should uplift you, not tear you down.
That's such an important point. I've noticed that the people around me really do affect how I feel about myself. When I'm around supportive, encouraging friends, I feel more confident. But when I'm around negativity or criticism, it's easy to start doubting myself.
That's totally normal. It's a natural reaction to the energy we absorb from others. That's why it's so important to create an environment that supports your growth, whether that's at work, in friendships, or even at home.
I can see that now. It's like all these factors, positive self-talk, setting boundaries, facing fears, spending time on yourself, and having supportive people around you. They all work together to build self-esteem and confidence.
Exactly. And once you've built that strong foundation, everything else in life becomes easier. You're more resilient, more focused, and more capable of handling challenges. It really does improve your quality of life in every way.
I feel like I've learned a lot from this conversation, Alice. It's made me realize that self-esteem and confidence aren't just personality traits. They're skills that can be developed.
I'm glad you feel that way, John. And you're right, confidence is something you can work on, just like any other skill. The more effort you put into it, the more it grows. And the more it grows, the more fulfilling your life becomes.
I'm definitely going to start applying some of the things we've talked about. It's time I invested more in myself and stopped letting fear or self-doubt hold me back.
That's the spirit. Remember, it's a journey, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. Just keep being patient with yourself and keep moving forward. You've got this.
Thanks, Alice. I really appreciate the encouragement. I'm excited to see where this journey takes me.
Anytime, John. Just remember, self-confidence and self-esteem are within your control, and you're already on the right path. Keep believing in yourself.